So I'm Jeffrey Mercer, pastor of Christ Fellowship Church here in Central Louisiana. It's December the 19th, Thursday, 2019, and this is The Steep, where we discuss issues being discussed already in the public square from a Christian perspective and worldview, while our tea steeps. So today, the discussion we want to enter into is the discussion, a Christmas discussion, about the date of December the 25th. And particularly, specifically, was Jesus born on December the 25th? And if you get your knowledge in life from the YouTube Scholarship Academy, then you've probably been told that Christians celebrate the birth of Jesus on December the 25th because it was originally a pagan holiday, and Christian just sort of baptized it and cleaned it off and washed it off. And so it didn't originate with Christianity. It originated with paganism, maybe Constantine around 313 when he made the Roman Empire Christian. Along this view, there are several cults that are put forth: Saturnalia, Mithraism, Ceres, Horus, Sol Invictus, various of these. Dionysius is put forth as the origins of Christmas, and the motives that are attributed to the church for doing this are normally either to avoid persecution or to curry favor with the culture. And so what do you say about this? Well, their proofs for this are, number one, the New Testament doesn't give us a specific date. And their second proof for this conclusion is, nor does it give us a command. And the third one is the most popular, that the shepherds, what the New Testament does say, the shepherds were keeping their flocks out in the field by night. Something you obviously wouldn't have done in December and wintertime. And so therefore he could not have been born in the winter, probably born in the spring, something like that. So when I got to this point and telling my daughter this, she said, "Thanks, Dad, you ruined Christmas." But keep listening. So what do you say to that? Well, number one, just it's kind of ironic to shoot this in December because just a few days ago, it was literally almost 80 degrees here in Central Louisiana. And incidentally, the climate, at least temperature-wise, in the South, across the bottom of the United States, is very similar to the temperature climate in Palestine around December. And they experience the very similar fluctuations. And so the fact that shepherds were out in the field at night, if you had sheep a few days ago when the temperature was that high, you would have had them outside. It would have been December. So that's a defeater to that point. And as far as the other 2 points, there not being a command or a date in Scripture, that doesn't mean we can't know, no more than George Washington is not in the Bible, and we can't know anything about him, or various pharaohs and things like that. So just means we have to go into the historical evidence and see what we find, and see when was the earliest times that we know of that Christians were celebrating Christmas and doing it on these dates. So when you do that, it depends on if you're in the East or the West. If you're in the West, like we are, About the earliest reference we have of Christians celebrating Christmas on the 25th of December is around 250 AD. And if you're in the East, they celebrated it on January the 6th. And about the earliest reference we have for that is it's earlier than 250, or about the early 200s. So you can see that the YouTube scholarship is just wrong. That's 75 to 100 years before the time of Constantine and the peace of the church. So we don't know which of the two are right. Both of them claim to have apostolic precedent for celebrating it on the 25th, and the other for celebrating it on the 6th. But what we do know is that they didn't do it to curry favor with the culture. For those pagan religions and cults were falling away at this time, so it doesn't make any sense to try to attach Christianity to that. And this was during the time of persecution. They suffered after 200 and 250. So the facts just don't line up. One thing we do know from the text, there's a scholar by the name of Roger Beckwith, and he's a real historian and scholar. And he wrote an article, monograph on this. And in his paper, he points out something that is in the Gospel of Luke, very interesting. He says, basically sum up his argumentation. He says, we do know that the birth of Jesus has a very particular relationship to the birth of John the Baptist. We do know that. And we do know from the text who John the Baptist papa was, Zacharias. And we do know the tribe that Zacharias was a part of. And he points out we have something called the courses of the priests, where it was recorded before the destruction of the temple, where they served, the times that they served in the temple. And so therefore we have those, and we know when Zacharias would have been serving, and we know therefore when Elizabeth would have been pregnant, and therefore we can know when Jesus would have been born. And when Beckwith runs his figures, he doesn't give an exact date, but he comes 2 or 3 week period of time, pretty much falls right in the middle from December the 25th to January the 6th. So, was he born on December the 25th? We don't know for sure. But what we do know is it was close to that time. We do know he might have been. Is the east right? Is the west right? We don't know. But we do know these other explanations are wrong. It wasn't to avoid persecution. It wasn't to curry favor with the culture. It was just because God had been born in the flesh. That's why they were celebrating Christmas. And so we hope you will. And one final thought, even if it did take over a pagan institution and sort of take that away and Christianize it, that would not be a loss to Christianity. It would just demonstrate the rule of Christ, the reign of Christ, the reconstruction of the world, bringing things under his lordship. And so really it's a win-win either way. But we hope that information will help you. And on the next episode, we will deal with the Magi's star another Christmas question.